What is going on, guys? Ultimate Deadpool here, finally back with the repainted Kratos God of War figure. So, for those of you who don't know, I got this guy a while back to hopefully use for future videos. And when I got him and opened him up and started reviewing him, he was shit. The paint work was lackluster. The colors were all wrong. The weapon choices were sad, and he didn't really come with a ton of stuff, and it was just not a fun experience. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll have a link in the description below if you want to watch that video first and then come back and see the comparisons to the differences from what it was to what it is now. So this guy got a complete re-overhaul. I took literally the entire figure apart, took his armor off, took his legs off, repainted the whole thing. I gave him brand new hands because the hands that he came with were crap. They were on these ugly double joint wrist things for his forearms. Granted, no, these hands don't have any sculpt work on them, but I don't care. This guy's going to be standing on a shelf in a collection box forever. But his beard is actually the right color this time. His armor and fur on his back are the right colors this time. There is actual detail now painted on there rather than it just being sculpted and molded on there. All the colors I believe, are as accurate to the game as possible. The Leviathan axe also got a complete rehaul in terms of paint jobs, because if you guys remember, the original handle was orange for some reason, or like a pinkish orange. So if my editor's worth anything, certain photos from the old video when I did review this guy originally should be showing up right about now. But I mean, this guy got completely top to bottom a complete rehaul and repaint, and then to protect everything, I sprayed it all with a satin finish. To make it look more like skin, and make sure that it wasn't too shiny, because obviously Kratos isn't going to be glossy. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take him off this rotating turntable, and I'll give you a better look at him up close. Okay, I don't know if this is the best shot of up close Kratos, but you can see just how much better the paint job looks compared to the other guy. These two colors were a complete mismatch. Some paint did chip off when I was trying to get everything done earlier. I just haven't really fixed it yet. Yes, this plate is missing. That's how the shield attaches to his forearm. It just simply clips on there. So for the sake of simplicity, I just took the shield off. But his leather tabards or skirt piece or whatever you want to call it, that is actually brown in the original game, if I'm not mistaken. So it is brown here to match leather and animal skin and everything else that Kratos would have. So what I did is I actually simply pulled his torso apart, pulled his arms off, and redid his tattoo. I actually cut the armor piece off. You can see right up here where it was re-glued. I took this armor piece off, repainted it, and then all the fur and the leather for his armor was all touched up with a slight brown dry brush and brown for the leather sections. Some people might say that his tattoo or whatever is too dark. I disagree. It looks a lot better than it did, in my opinion, the first time around. Because the first time around, it looked awful, in my opinion. The red just did not look right. It came off more of like a pinkish color. His nipples are gone. They are still sculpted there, but they're no longer painted brown. I don't know why the hell this company, the Neca company, decided to paint Kratos' nipples brown, but for some reason they did. So when I repainted mine, I just simply left them blank. I did not feel like giving nipples titties. So, The only other thing I did not do was I haven't gotten Mimir to go on his back yet. I am working on that. Hopefully that will happen before too long. And then this little piece where the Leviathan axe slides in does still slide in. Obviously, I was sitting in there when it was rotating on the table a few minutes ago, so it's obviously still removable. His arms and everything are still able to bend, unhindered. So, and the paint should be protected by a coating of clear coat. Same thing on both sides, but it's very, very stiff now because of the layers of paint on his arms. Still doable though. His legs are not painted at all, except for this part, because I thought, if I'm remembering the game correctly, or at least the clips of it that I watched, because I don't actually have a PlayStation 4 or whatever to actually play God of War Ragnarok or anything like that, his pants were black. So if I'm remembering everything correctly, that's accurate. And then I didn't feel like messing with all of this stuff because it just looked right to me, based off memory. Phase Ash's bag, I believe, actually still was red. I could be misremembering. It could have been brown. It could have been something else. I don't remember. That's not a big deal. From what I can tell and from what I can remember, this looks fine. Yes, I know he did have armor plating on his left hand and wrappings on his right hand. I didn't feel like trying to sculpt that stuff. These are actually, for fun fact, these are actually Mattel WWE hands, pulled off of a character I had lying around that I wasn't using. So I decided to give them to Kratos. And basically what I did was I filled in the original arm joint with epoxy putty, drilled the hole to match the hands that pegged into the original WWE figure, and then just simply twisted it and pressed it in, giving me a nice secure wrist connection. So our Kratos does still articulate really well. So it's just a bulb joint up in this top, double bend at his legs. Obviously none of the legs were not touched, but everything was sprayed individually. If you take his head off, you can still see that his original body color. Okay, I'm not going to try to take his head off because it's not going to come off right now. But the original, this original body was molded in brown for some reason. So when they did the gray paint and the gray and white paint over it to match Kratos' skin, the brown body showed through on the original. This is all on the original video, by the way. And it just looked ugly as hell. It looked so bad, it was laughable. So I literally took this guy apart and just redid everything. I did not mess with his eyes, though. But his beard is actually black now. For some reason, there was mostly brown the original time around. Now, it's not perfect, and I will be the first person to admit that. This is not perfect. But in my opinion, it is a hell of a lot better than what it was. I also did not touch the scar from God of War 3, I believe is what that's from. I did not touch that because, again, I just didn't feel like messing with it. And same thing on both sides. I didn't touch that part, but you can see that the tattoo does wrap around his entire body underneath his armor plating because, like I said, I did cut that off to actually paint him completely from at least waist up. But like I said, his loincloth was repainted. So, and then his shield I didn't touch. Plain and simple. The Leviathan axe, however, I did. See that right there? That tiny little bit of pink that is shown through because I had that's where it holsters on his back, and the thing just chipped it. That's the original color that they decided to give this thing instead of that actual wood brown. So the whole thing was done in wood brown. The handle did not mess with. The axe head color didn't mess with. I just simply took a black paint, washed it out, and brushed it all over inside, wiped it off, so that way it got onto the cracks and crevices of the Leviathan axe, and now it brings out that detail rather than just having it sculpted in there. And so all of this is basically just, you know, black paint, wipe it off, black paint, wipe it off, black paint, wipe it off until it gets all into that crevice and makes it look somewhat like that. So that's fun. And just like Kratos Raphael behind actual Kratos, he has now 2 metal Blades of Chaos. These are my favorite versions of the Blades of Chaos. Yes, I'm pretty sure these are not exactly accurate to what was shown in God of War 2018, which is what this guy's based off of, but I don't care. These are by far my favorite looks for the Blades of Chaos, and yes, they are actual metal, so if you actually wanted to, ladies, if you wanted to, get these 2, or get 2 of these and have make them into earrings, because they do have actual holes on the handles, so you can actually put chains through them, just like I did with Kratos Raphael. He has Blades of Chaos that are actually chained up on his arms, as it's supposed to be due to video game accuracy. And since that is a video game version of Kratos as a Ninja Turtles character, then there you go. So let's go ahead and reassemble Kratos. So the Leviathan axe has always been a pain in the ass to stick into that little crevice, but it does work. And yes, eventually I will put Blades of Chaos, or the Blades of Chaos with chains on his arms, but for now he can just simply hold them, because as everybody knows, in God of War 2018 he did not have the Blades of Chaos permanently bonded to his forearms, so the chains were obviously removed, and for some reason when you actually play as Kratos, they show up when they need to be. But anyway, so for the most part, this is exactly what he's going to look like in my display case. He's not really going to do much of anything except stand there. I did originally get this guy to use him for videos, and I still will do that. But since this particular version of Kratos, that when I redid it, in my opinion, turned out really, really good, I'm tempted to just leave him be, get another one, and then do the same thing to it. Unless that one is perfect right out of the box and I just got a defective one originally. But anyway, let's go ahead and do what I was going to do in my last video, and do a proper celebration of all the custom painted figures that I've done over the years. Obviously there are some of them currently standing behind Kratos right now, but let's go ahead and finish off this video with kind of a serendipity or whatever, heartfelt shit. What a shot. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I had actually done this many custom characters over the years. And I don't mean custom as in like, oh, I fixed a little, issue with a perfectly good thing or figure here and there. No. Everything that's in front of you guys right now are all custom hand painted figures, ranging from obviously the 3 Iron Man suits that I did not too long ago. Obviously Wolverine, but he doesn't really count because he doesn't have any paint on him except for his I guess you could say not sideburns, his little beard area. But freaking Turtle Titan, Kratos, Savini Jason, who was actually one of my first, if not my first ever custom made action figure. The 4 video game turtles of Raphael as Kratos, Donatello as Springtrap, Michelangelo as Mario, and Leonardo as Starkiller. And then you have the 4 Cyber Turtles, Slaughter, Oswald, Killshot, and Metalhead, 2 versions of Metalhead, and Slakar, which is I got specifically to customize. And technically, I'm sure there are others, but the only other ones that I could find currently are the gory Optimus Prime and gory Megatron. I don't consider those customs because they are model kits. So technically, model kits, you can do whatever you want with them anyway. And then if you wanted to get extremely technical, then I should be pulling out every single model car that I have ever built, which is in a completely different other cabinet, and is full to the brim of custom cars and stuff like that I've done and painted throughout the years. So, on a very technicality level, sure, Gory Optimus Prime and Gory Megatron do technically count, but they are technically model kits, so I don't consider them full-on action figures that were customized, unlike the other guys in the background. Yes, technically Wolverine doesn't count. The only reason he does is because his bare arms are off of another Wolverine, and his shoulder pads were re-added back on there. Plus his mutton chops area was repainted because they didn't paint it; they just sculpted it. But as far as I know, these are all of the custom characters and stuff that I have ever painted throughout the years. So I've gone from taking reference photos of Savini Jason, attempting to do a paint blend with that, to being able to add electronics into figures and still have them be fully posable, to being able to take concept suits that came back out in 2008 and 2007 and, in my opinion, perfectly redo those suits in a modern time with modern Marvel Legend figures. And if you want to get even more technical, to full-on sculpting accessories for a character that appeared a handful of times in a cartoon show that I watched as a kid, using a completely different design than what it was originally and doing a more realistic take on it, to doing 4 weird, random, completely out there video game inspired designs off of characters that should never have had those designs imprinted onto their forms. And if you want to get even more technical, 2003's Shredder is completely fully sculpted and painted, basically from head to toe. So yeah, in my opinion, I've come a long way from when I first started with Savini Jason. He was technically my first ever real custom action figure, and then what he started, all of this came into fruition afterwards. And honestly, I can't say I'm disappointed. I do love everyone on this table right now. Yes, even the god-awful video game turtles. They still have a place in my display case. They are, in fact, going to go in that display case as soon as this video is over. And obviously the Cyber Turtles, they're going to show up in the Connected Universe sooner or later. And, all 3 Iron Man suits that I did in my last video, they're obviously going to have a very special place in my display case, because, like I said, the Captain America Iron Man suit and the Torpedo Iron Man suit, the black and blue, and then the red, white, and blue, were by far my childhood when I was a kid. And then the Stealth Operations War Machine suit standing next to them, I wanted as a kid, but I could never get it. But I have it now, and I did a modern version of it, so there you go. And technically, I think I did have that one as a kid, but it ended up breaking. So, but anyway, there you go. Every single customized action figure I have ever done. And yes, as the video is ending, I'll do a up-close shot, once rotation of every single character that is standing in front of you right now. thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you guys so much again for all of y'all's support on all of these custom characters that I've painted over the years.